Germany's warlord of a generation ago, former Kaiser Wilhelm II, seen here in the heyday of his career during the First World War, is dead in his exile home in Doorn, Holland. Once he was the most hated man on earth.
We expect to collect 20 million pounds of old aluminum utensils throughout the country. 10,000 pounds are needed for every fighter plane. Just think of it. We will collect enough aluminum for 2,000 fighter planes. I appeal to all to help in this very important mission of collecting old aluminum for our government.
Lou Gehrig, one of the cleanest, finest, and most popular men in the world of sports, whose retirement from baseball 2 years ago, because of a strange malady, was marked by an unprecedented tribute at the Yankee Stadium, has passed on, a victim of the illness that cut short his brilliant career. Baseball's Iron Man, slugger extraordinaire, and hero of millions. His loss is a big one to the nation.
We have seen the American motion picture become foremost in all the world. We've seen it reflect our civilization throughout the rest of the world. The aims and the aspirations and the ideals of a free people and of freedom itself. The motion picture industry has utilized its vast resources of talent and facilities, in a sincere effort to help the people of the hemisphere to come to know each other. Dictators, those who enforce the totalitarian form of government, think it's a dangerous thing for their unfortunate peoples to know that in our democracy, officers of the government are the servants and never the masters of the people.
Vice President Wallace is in the thick of the fight here at the Capitol, taking on the senators one by one. But this has nothing to do with the Lend-Lease bill. He hopes to impress the senators with the importance of reduction. Waistline reduction, that is. And today he's working on Senator Ellender of Louisiana. But it's far from a one-sided argument. The Vice President has introduced a new game, paddleball, to the Senate gymnasium. A fast game it is, too. If that doesn't lead to a change of front, physically speaking, of course, on the part of the Senate, nothing will. Who says a Vice President doesn't work?
If we are going to adopt a policy of aid to Britain, it is above all necessary to make that aid effective. To render ineffective aid would be disastrous. If we are to aid Britain effectively, we should provide her with from 5 to 10 destroyers a month. We should be able to do this directly and swiftly, rather than through the rigmarole of dubious legalistic interpretations. Now, I am as much opposed as any man in America to undue concentration of power in the chief executive. And may I say that I did my best to remove that power from the present executive. Personally, I would have preferred to see Congress, whether through this bill or through others, instruct the President to lend or lease these things. I would much prefer to have the impetus to come from Congress than from the executive. It would be truly inspiring for us and for liberty-loving people everywhere if this bill could be adopted with a nonpartisan and almost a unanimous vote.
The conquering Lion of Judah became that in fact, as Haile Selassie, with the help of the British, regained his throne in Ethiopia. Thus died the empire hopes of Hitler's stooge, Il Duce.
Debate rages over our foreign policy, present and future. That is as it should be in a democracy. No one can foretell what decisions may emerge from that debate, but in this job for your boys, for your men everywhere, there can be no debate and there can be no argument. Only one thing can we foretell. Come what may, America stands behind its men in uniform. America stands united. I thank you.
The President bought the first defense bond and set an early example for us all. Let's get behind our Army, our Navy, and our President.
Fellow Americans, I ask you to demonstrate again your faith in America by joining me in investing in the new defense savings bonds and stamps. And I know that you will help.
I've just returned from my mission to England, and I'm going to leave for Washington at once to report to the President. One thing I think I may say to you is this, that in my 4 weeks in England and visiting the defenses of England, seeing their fleet and their soldiers and their air forces, I'm sure that Hitler cannot defeat the British people. The British are determined to win. True, they need our help. They need it desperately. They need it now. And I'm sure they're going to get it.
Hey, look. They're all buying them. That's yours, huh? Hey, there's another one. Lucky.
They're certainly worth buying, boys.
So you got any left?
Oh, sure. 1 defense bond and 3 10-cent defense stamps.
Hey, Abby, what are the stamps for?
For defense.
You mean you put the stamps on defense? And to whom do you mail defense?
No,
your name, please.
But Abbott.
Costello's mine.
You don't understand. These stamps are for defense. You see, when you buy a defense stamp or a defense bond, you're saving your money by lending it to Uncle Sam. See, Uncle Sam needs that money to build ships and planes, tanks.
And what?
Tanks.
You're welcome.
For what?
For giving me such wonderful advice.
Oh, sure.
I want to help my Uncle Sam.
Well, you should.
And I also want to help myself.
Well,
therefore, I'm going to buy plenty of those defense bonds and stamps.
That's the boy.
And you, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to help your Uncle Sam, I hope you do the same. Thank you.
Easter has many surprises in store, not the least of which are some swanky new ideas for the feminine foot. Whether the girlfriend walks or rides, she'll be the top of Easter morning in these new creations by Delman. And for afternoon tea, what could be more subtle than this one? She's wearing the turban-draped sandal in silver kidskin. Or do you prefer the footstool effect with a motif of ancient Rome? The new Tootsie trend is full of surprises, but don't forget that designers have to keep in step with other fashion trends, and that's a big order these days. But for an old-fashioned bride, a white satin shoe and all the trimmings. Ah, spring.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a great thrill to me to receive in the picture you did called Philadelphia Story.
Thank you, Miss Fontaine. I don't know how to express my gratitude. I don't know how it happened that I have it in my hand, but I have. And I'm indeed grateful. And this is the greatest moment of my life. Thank you.
The co-eds at Oregon State have gone military in a striking way. The lid is off, or rather on, in a matter of national defense. They believe in using their heads when it comes to preparedness. Marion Burt sports a machine gun nest. while Margaret Sherrard believes in air power. Uh-oh, here's a girl who's true to the Navy and Marines. But Gene Starker says that Uncle Sam's newest fighting corps, the parachute service, is tops with her. But one blow from her, and see them take the air.
You're entering your 10th year in radio.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Freeman. Thanks to you.
Hello, Mr. Billy. This is Rochester.
It certainly is a pleasure to be here, Mr. Benny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bergen.
Yeah. I don't know what we're doing here. Well, you don't have an old joke you don't need.
No, we had them. We could have used them right now.
I think so myself.
We could use a finish. Why doesn't a fuse blow?
Assembled Congress hears the President and his promise to all people fighting aggression.
We shall send you in ever-increasing numbers, ships, planes, tanks, guns. That is our purpose and our pledge.
And the President's words meant action as billions of dollars worth of goods start to flow to embattled England and other allied countries. America became the arsenal of democracy. We're in the war now, but all through 1941, we were in there on the side of democracy. Unprecedented in the annals of the United States was the inauguration of Mr. Roosevelt to his third term. He took office to face the most critical period of our nation's history. During the year up to the day we entered the war, sabotage and strikes were rife in the country. Some acts were proven deliberate, some were not, but thousands upon thousands of man-hours were lost. Under international law, the United States seized Axis ships in our ports. This was to prevent the sabotage of these vessels. It took the war to unite our people, to unite capital and labor. Strikes flared again and again throughout the nation, accompanied by violence and bloodshed. But now, scenes such as these are a thing of the past, for this nation will make a supreme effort to back our armed forces with the weapons they need. This is everybody's war. We're all in this war for victory. Mystery of the year is the reason back of Rudolf Hess's flight from Germany to Scotland. Did he feel the Axis couldn't win? Did he come with peace messages? All this won't be known until the war is over. The British checkmated Hitler in Syria when they moved in before the Nazis could take over, thus cutting off a potential source of oil for the German panzer divisions. Iran, too, is the same story. The British, with this coup, control almost all of the Middle East oil supply. This is the oil that Hitler badly needed but lost. And with Russia in the way, he can't win the Caucasian oil fields. America acts to protect the vital North Atlantic sea lanes. American guns and troops in Iceland to ward off Nazi attacks and to guard the strategic shipping lanes over which Lend-Lease supplies are pouring to our allies. Uncle Sam takes the initiative. An American naval casualty in the Battle of the Atlantic. The destroyer Kearney, on convoy duty off Iceland, was hit by a Nazi torpedo. Its rugged construction saved the new type ship, but American sailors lost their lives. When Hitler's hordes smashed into Russia in June, many prophesied the quick defeat of the Russian armies, but not the Russians. Their heroic defense and their savage counterblows at the end of the year provides new hope for ultimate victory over the Axis powers. Germans retreating in Russia. Good news in 1941. British imperial forces swept through Libya once, but were forced back after smashing Italian armies there. Then came the heroic defense of Tobruk against overwhelming odds. Empire forces held out for 9 months at Tobruk, waiting the time, not far distant, when Britain's second offensive begins. Equipped with American-made tanks and planes, British troops are waging a campaign of annihilation to wipe out the Axis armies. Victory here will bolster the entire Allied position in the Middle East and may thwart any Axis thrust across Spain and down the coast of Africa. Time is of essence in Africa. The greatest double cross in history. Jap envoys talk peace in Washington. Jap planes without warning bring war to America. Our great Pacific outpost in the Hawaiian Islands is ruthlessly bombed as Japan's perfidious declaration of war. Death and destruction unleashed on a nation at peace. On that fateful Sunday morning when this country was extending a friendly hand of conciliation and peace. The treacherous attacks brought death to almost 3,000 American soldiers, sailors, and civilians. Our loss in warships and planes was high, but overnight this nation was united in an all-out determination to avenge the hideous assault on American lives and property. Our battle cry is, "Remember Pearl Harbor." The President's signature speeds our total defense, energies, and resources to all-out victory. The evil mastermind of aggression is forced into the open. The world's #1 arsonist and killer declares the war on the United States, and his stooges applaud. The vociferous junior partner in crime follows suit. Now practically the entire world is joined in a horrible war. It's Derby Day at Santa Anita. 31,000 fans, including George Raft and Betty Grable, jam the stands for the main event, the $50,000 Santa Anita Derby. And all eyes are on the thoroughbred as the big field of 3-year-olds get away with a rush.
Around the turn, it's Bayview still in front by a 1 length. Sweep Ida is second by a head. Porter's Cap is third on the outside. Bayview in front on the inside by a head. Sweep Ida is second by a 1 length. Porter's Cap is third by a head. Can't Wait is fourth on the outside by 1 length. Viscounty is next on the rail by a head. Hysterical by a length and a half. And there goes Mealand and General Manager on the outside. Into the stretch, and it's Bayview in front by a length and a half. Mealand is second by a length and a half. Sweep Ida is third by a head. Hysterical is next on the inside. Into the stretch, and it's Bayview in front under the whip by a half a length. Mealand is second and driving on the outside. And there comes Bolingbrook. It's Bayview and Mealand. It's Bayview and Mealand is going to be a driving finish as they come across the line. It's Bayview by a half a length. Mealand is second by 4 lengths. And Bayview, a 50-1 shot, is the winner.
The DiMaggio brothers, Joe and Dominic, seem to be serious about spring training. And you can just wager that baseball is behind it all. There have been rumors that they weren't training. But what do you think about that now? A few days of this, and both boys will be in top form. Dominic for the Boston Red Sox and Joe for the Yanks, when he and the powers that be agree on financial matters. Right now, however, Brother Tom says, keep working, and he means it. Gosh, the way some fellas exercise makes me feel tired all over. Alice Marble plays Miss Hardwick of Great Britain in her first professional appearance. A big day for the world's foremost woman player and for the 15,000 fans who came to see Alice in her pro debut. In the near court, Miss Marble has a fight on her hands to top the doughty Briton. And the fans follow every play with interest. Alice lost the first 4 games of the first set, but came back to win. She's finding the going tougher than at Forest Hills, but she breaks through to win the match 8-6, 8-6. In the mixed doubles, Alice teams up with the old maestro of tennis, Big Bill Tilden, against Miss Hardwick and Don Budd. A hard-hitting foursome that should put on a great show, and does, in front of a sold-out crowd of appreciative onlookers who find themselves fortunate enough to observe some of tennis's all-time greats. Congratulations are in order for a game well played. Baseball's Hank Greenberg bows out. The colorful Detroit outfielder, one of baseball's highest-paid stars, says farewell to the Tigers and his host of fans by chalking up 2 home runs in his last game against the New York Yankees. No, sir, Hank doesn't disappoint his rooters today. Uncle Sam is going to be the great slugger's boss for another year or so. Quitting baseball for a year may mean it's quits for all time, but Hank is taking it like a real trooper. So it's goodbye, baseball, and hello, Uncle Sam. Goodbye, 50 grand a year. Hello, 21 bucks a month. When the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame clash with the NYU Cagers in enemy territory, you're in for plenty of action right from the start. The Irish draw first blood, but the Violets come right back with a little scoring drive of their own that packs a wallop too. Yes, sir, this is the kind of basketball the Big Towners like. They say this modern basketball is tough on the players, but they seem to eat it up, as do the spectators. It's nip and tuck, a close game all the way, but the Irish keep fighting and win 41-38. You don't associate Havana with pictures like this, but the Brooklyn Dodgers didn't come here to fool around. Owner McPhail and manager DeRocher thank Cuban sports director Jaime Marine, who invited the team to come down and limber up in Cuba. And that's just dandy with Ducky Medwick, old-timer Freddie Fitzsimmons, and the rest. Kirby Higby's one of the newcomers, and Van Lingle Mungo's arm is okay again. So you Brooklyn fans can start rooting. It won't be long now. If the fat of the land's been sticking to your ribs this winter, better get busy, girls, and svelte it off. Dame Fashion wants her daughters trim and chic for the new spring styles. Already, she's a mere shadow of herself. These girls at Dean's Reducing Studio say a pound a day chases the bulge away, even if you have to shake it off. As a takeoff, this is the works. Yesterday, they were 8 staid businessmen. But look at them now. They're glamorous, dolled up in their wives' clothes for the slap-happiest fashion show we've ever seen. And you just know that the wives are out front having the time of their lives. First, the play suits. Cute, isn't it? The models, you heard me, are members of the Manufacturers and Bankers Club. The show is the result of a Let Yourself Go campaign started by the club's new social director. And these glamorous mannequins really go to town. But imagine trying to be the solid executive again after the show is over. George C. Pierce, sales manager of the Phelps Dodge Company, steals the show in a beach ensemble that should make you girls jealous. And note the technique. Picking a winner is a man-sized job. My, such distractions. But Mr. Pierce gets the nod and a lovely crown. It's all over, but the kidding. 35 gallons of molasses. Yes, that's molasses. Toss in the ring a batch of pretties like these, and brethren, you've got something. Probably the screwiest hoedown since the goofy season started. Molasses in January, and then mixed thoroughly with feathers for a quiet evening at home. Birds of a feather stick together. Rough sport, isn't it? But some seem to stick it out for a while anyway. When the cuties get mad, they decide to come clean and really wrestle. Or should we call it mayhem? They'll have to call the fire department to get them clean. Or better still, just cook and serve as is. Elvira and Elmer Snodgrass are touring the country, making dough. Elvira wrestles all comers. The blonde wildcat from Birmingham is Elvira's opponent, that is, after Elvira gets ready for the battle. Now, for the fun. Elvira from Smoky Mountain, Tennessee, is billed as the Hillbilly Wrestler, and from the looks of things, she uses wildcats as sparring partners. Elvira, Mrs. Snodgrass to you took up this gentle pastime so she could raise money and retire to the Snodgrass farm and buy some more hogs. Boy, oh boy, she's sure bringing home the bacon. Elmer's mighty proud of the little woman, but we'll bet he's mighty careful about getting her mad. If it's more she wants, says Elvira, more it is. Yippee! And here comes that crazy blonde wildcat again, but not for long. She'll be down for the count. And here's looking at you, kid. It's 1, 2, and 3. The winner, Elvira Snodgrass. And that hog farm is just one step nearer. There's nothing but sweetness and light in Elvira's heart until the blonde wildcat won't let bygones be bygones. It's business before pleasure, Mrs. Snodgrass says. An air-conditioned bed, equipped with everything but a silent alarm clock, is one of the features at the Inventors Congress. Another novelty that strikes the eye is a garter girdle, guaranteed to stop traffic. Stop runs in feminine hosiery. Isn't science wonderful? And now, here's a dimple-developing machine that works while you sleep. That is, if you can sleep. The second inaugural of Governor Leo Daniel of Texas will long be remembered by the citizens of the Lone Star State. The colorful executive has an inaugural that's as equally colorful, and 10,000 more or less jam the mansion grounds for what may be the biggest barbecue in all history. And the food's all free. Served catch as catch can. 19,000 pounds of meat. What a party! Barbecued beef, mutton, buffalo, and veal. And does the gang love it? Well, they weren't exactly on a diet.